Hello beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. The topic of today's video is how can we live more from the body? How can we live more from the heart and less from the mind? So it's a great riddle we would all desire to crack. And the reason being is because as beautiful as the mind is, it doesn't seem to have our well-being at heart. It doesn't seem to have our well-being as one of its top priorities. Why is that? Well, because the mind's top priority is our survival, our physical survival, our safety. It's also there to solve very complex, difficult life problems. So it has to work overtime and it's stressed all the time. And, if you ask it to deal with your well-being, it's just not equipped. It's not the best employee. Don't forget, you've got many employees within this sensory experience of yours, and one employee that's better at dealing with your well-being is your body or your heart. So when we think of the heart, we think of this sensation around this area, right? And why is it so profound to live life more from this place is because it takes our consciousness, which most of the time is contracted to the mind. And what that means is obviously we have thoughts, and the mind is contracting itself to just become aware of those thoughts because they're very powerfully charged. Now, what we can learn to do is actually bring our awareness out of the mind and bring it more into the body. And we do that in a soothing, gentle way. So we slowly breathe in, breathe out, and then just bring our awareness slowly into the body. And what we notice, when we do that, is life becomes more expansive, right? Life becomes more open. And it becomes more freeing. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, is that there is actually intelligence to our bodies as well. Like our bodies know a hell of a lot, just as much as the mind, but in a totally different, subtle way. And it doesn't know it in a logical way, like the mind can know something. It knows it in a completely different way, more in an emotional, intuitive way. So that's why it's important to learn to live less through the mind and more into the body. Now, making sure we attend to this body and move it in a way where we keep it healthy, but also reconnecting our consciousness to the body. Because what you'll notice is the mind is constantly fighting for your awareness's attention. And it's up to you where you decide to give the attention to. Do you give it to your body or do you give it to your mind? So you just got to train yourself. Just give it more and more to your body. Just allow your awareness to sink more and more into the body. And by doing this, you'll start to notice the subtler aspects, the intelligence of the body. And it's a beautiful thing because the body knows far more about what's better for our well-being than the mind does. And it's actually really hard to trust that. It's really difficult to trust that. And it's really important to just spend a bit of time. Maybe it's just, 10 minutes a day, just scanning our body, just slowly scanning our sensations from tips of our toes all the way up to the top of our head and just slowly down again. And it's really important to do that because what we can do is we start to actually feel into the body, become aware of what it's telling us, and we start to live life through it. So as an example, when you go about your day-to-day life, just start taking a note of how much your life is actually experienced through the body and how much it's experienced through the mind. And it's something that we don't really think about. When you go about your day-to-day life, you're just existing, right? Or how about start asking these questions? Okay, at work today, was I more living here or was I more living through here? Where was my attention? That's really what it comes down to. You start training ourselves to put our attention more into the stomach, into the heart. We'll feel more expansive. We'll feel more free. And we'll actually notice that this mind of ours will start to slow down a little bit. It will stop being so tense and it will stop trying to work everything out so much because it's found its friend. The body and mind wants to become friends, right? And it's only going to do so when you start giving less attention to the mind and more attention to the body. And the relationship between the two can become better because a lot of the time the body it's almost like the older sibling. It doesn't get the attention it deserves. And the reason why is because the mind hijacks the body a lot of the time. The mind, because we give it the most important task to survive, we feel as though we have to live our life through it, because if we don't, we won't survive. But it's not quite true. And the problem is, obviously, when certain things happen to us, when we go through certain difficult life moments and we start feeling emotions that we find difficult to deal with, we'll give the mind the task of dealing with it instead of allowing the body to naturally process it. And this obviously is where trauma arises, of course. So the more we become connected to our bodies, the actual better we will get at dealing with more difficult life situations. So it's kind of like a training as well at the same time. So you can see it like that. Oh, if I'm training myself to be, or living my life more from my body, I'm going to be better equipped at dealing with difficult life situations when they arise, right? Because say something bad happens to you, maybe you get into an accident and you hurt yourself, or if you're coming from the body, you're able to be on that sensation straight away, that painful feeling, and you're able to observe it, and you're able to see its nature quicker than if you're just living straight through the mind. Now, the mind will give a temporary relief to that, and you might feel as though you're feeling better about yourself, but it's only temporary, and these emotions then get stuck into the system, and then it creates a little cycle that we would rather avoid, of course. So, of course, we talked about movement, we talked about bringing awareness back into the body, breathing as well, learning to become aware of how we breathe and how do we breathe when our body is under certain situations. So if we're under stress, how does our body react to that, and how does our breathing change? How does our breathing change when we're relaxed? And what we can do is start to train ourselves to breathe in a way that we would when we're relaxed, but we can do that more often than not if we just constantly start to breathe slower, breathe less, and breathe through the nose, right? So that's another part. Breathing is extremely important. And then the fourth tip is becoming aware of your relationship to your body. How do you observe your sensations? So can you hold awareness on an uncomfortable sensation without yourself getting brought up into the mind? And this is something that takes a long time to train, but this is where true freedom really arises. If we can stay with uncomfortable emotions and sensations within the body, then we can actually learn to truly start to heal ourselves. That's a massive one. And it is difficult at times because we're so used to reacting to the body unconsciously. So maybe we're hungry, we might just feel, right, I want to go eat. But if we can train ourselves to observe the sensations of hunger, as an example, observe the sensations of feeling depressed or feeling anxious, and just to become aware of it and to see its nature, then you'll start to free yourself actually of the suffering that what feels like is coming from your body, but actually it's not. It's just a lack of insight into how the process of how your body operates in your sensory experience. So I hope this video is useful and helpful. It's a gentle reminder to put into practice, trying to live more from the body, live more from the heart, so one can live a more free, open existence. If you found this video useful, please do let me know. Feel free to comment, and I'll see you in the next video.